A lot has been made of BAZBALL, but one part I find super interesting is the selection and talent ID. What I think BAZBALL has tried to do is look at intangibles, which runs and wickets can't necessarily capture all of the time. Over the years, we've seen the rise of Moneyball.
Why do you like him?
Because he gets on base.
Where you pick up players based on obscure statistics that other teams don't necessarily look at. And while this is what teams in the IPL do, I feel like BAZBALL selection is a mix of old school selecting based on feel and statistics. England probably more than anyone collected a lot of data through umpire cams and stump cams on pacer bowlers and such, but what they're essentially saying is that through actual data or data from a selector, what traits predict if a player will be able to get the best batters out in test cricket on flat wickets, or if a player can score runs consistently against the best opposition. Have they seen players show that in a small sample size, however small it may be, and do they think that player can get better? If they can show all of these, then England will get them into the test team as soon as possible and develop them, even if some of those traits don't lead to conventional statistics of being good in first class cricket. And this also works in reverse. If you have good statistics but they don't translate into a skill set of the above, you won't make the team. Just ask Sam Cook for Essex, who's had an excellent season for the past few years, but he only bowls around 80 miles an hour and isn't that tall, so he hasn't been selected for the team. I think 3 selections personify this selection method, and the first is Shoaib Bashir. England identified that you need to be able to spin the ball hard and get bounce, which Bashir can do with his height, and that gets good players out. That's why he was picked even when he was second choice at Somerset, and to some degree this has worked, as he's bowled excellently in India and in the home test at times, but time will tell if he can develop into a world-class bowler consistently, and an average of 38 after 10 tests just shows how much of a work in progress he is. Secondly, you have Josh Hull. On test match debut he looked raw.
It's raw, Melissa!
But he definitely has the raw attributes, and if he puts on a yard of pace, he can be a real handful at 6'7" with a left arm angle. That's the sort of profile that any team in the world would be lucky to have. But an average of 57 in first class cricket highlights again how raw he is. But the last player I think can highlight the pitfalls of BAZBALL selection, and that is Zach Crawley. He's been given a long run and we've seen him do it on a good day, but he's really not consistent. And you could argue that's what you get sometimes when you pick these guys, based on their best innings. Occasionally they just reflect how good they are in first class cricket, and by coincidence at the time of this video his first class average and his test match average are exactly the same at 32.77. I'm not saying Zach Crawley won't be a great player for England, but it just highlights how sometimes you have to move on if a player you've selected isn't good enough or someone else better comes along. Overall, I do think this is the best way to select players. You need to identify players with the core traits to be successful in the test match arena and hone them in the international arena so they can get exposure versus the best players and improve. I think in the long run this will definitely benefit England, but only if they can move on players when a better option comes up. And they've shown that they can be ruthless in this regard. Just look at the way they got rid of Jack Lee in favour of Shoaib Bashir, for example. They thought Bashir was a better option, so they used him. But let me know what you think of BAZBALL selection in the comments, and if you like this video don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.